Can you spot the fake? In this video, we'll show you which one of these coins is real and which one is not, and give you some ideas on how that you'll be able to tell the difference between a good coin and a bad coin. And we'll show you some tools that you can use that are cheap and inexpensive to help you weed out some of the bad fakes very quickly and easily. Alright, the one on our right is the fake coin, the one on our left is the real coin. And I'm going to go through a bunch of different reasons why that the one on the right is fake and what you can do to actually weed these out on your own. The first thing is the tried and true magnet test. This is a tool for picking up screws and things like that. It's telescoping, but for our purposes it works as a very strong magnet that quickly will find the smallest bits of ferrous metal, and so it helps us with jewelry and coins, bullion, things like that if we ever need to have questions about it. And so with the real coin, you'll see that there is no magnetism at all to the coin. It just is simply unaffected. And again, this is one of the fakes that's been around a little bit longer, and it's a little bit easier to spot because of this reason. But if you look at this, you'll see how magnetic that coin is. And so that actually immediately rules the coin out as being real. But I'm going to show you some other things out there that that you would do in addition, and I'll show you how different the two coins really are. Alright, any collector out there that's doing some collecting, looking at silver coins, gold coins, you're going to always want to verify weights. And so I would recommend that everybody have a scale. You can get these things super cheap. This was not a scale that we use for business. It's just one I'm using for the video, the purposes of the video. I want to show you what a good legitimate coin is supposed to weigh, 26.7 grams. You can see that is right on the money. And if we look at one of these poorer fakes out there, the ones that have been around longer, they are very clearly underweight. So if you look at that at 19.7 grams, that's just from a percentage standpoint, that is a huge weight reduction. And this is one of those things that, you know, when you get around coins and you're doing a lot of collecting and things like that, and the more experience you have, you're going to start to be able to say, hey, I picked up this coin, it just does not feel right, and that's because it is so underweight versus the good coin. So typically you'll have some weight loss that's normal with worn coins, but to see a coin that has lost nearly 7 grams, you know, that's definitely never going to be the case. If this real coin had lost 7 grams, it would be cold. You probably wouldn't be able to see anything on it. So just to give you an idea, that's what you would be looking for from a weight. And I would say an acceptable weight down to a super worn coin, you're probably still looking at least 25 grams, even on the most worn coins out there. Maybe slightly less. clearly haven't seen the wornest coin in the world that's still identifiable as a silver dollar. But yeah, so you'll see that these coins will lose a slight amount of weight. But if you see something as crazy as 7 grams of loss, then that's a huge red flag. Avoid. The next thing that you can do does not require any tools whatsoever, and this one starts to become a little bit more subjective and something that you need to have a little bit of experience with. But in most cases, right off the bat, you can see some difference. If you look at the ring test, which if you look at just simply dropping the coin on the counter here, you can notice some differences in the tone. And to start, 1923 is a very common coin. This isn't really hurting the coin, and plus it's so common, it's pretty much silver value, maybe a little more. So that's why we don't mind dropping this. I would not definitely not do this with a rare coin or super high quality coin. So if you look at the good coin, you do the drop test, you hear a certain tone, and then if you look at the fake coin, you'll see that this is also a very different tone. So I'll do that a couple more times. You'll say it's a good coin, and then we have a bad coin, and the tone is very different. I hope the camera's picking it up okay. But, they are very different, and that's something that you'll start to be able to just hear over time. This test would also work with bullion and things like that. See, this This definitely has a higher pitch to it versus the lower pitch. Now we get into some of the more subjective things that are a little bit harder for people new to see. It's basically the way the coin looks, and again, this takes some experience, and you'd want to you know, it's the type of thing that you gain by being around coins a lot and doing a lot of trading and doing a lot of collecting, things like that. But the reality is that when coins are manufactured, fake coins are made, they are using very poor equipment, very poor dies, and things like that to try to recreate the original. And like for instance on this one, I'm hoping that the camera will pick it up, but you have a bad rim up here. It's basically looks like it's almost been struck twice, and so that would definitely be a telltale sign. The other major thing and is the way that the date looks on this particular coin. And if you look at the date and you see the way, specifically the 2 and the 3 really jump out at you. You'll see the 2 right there, the 3. This is the bad coin that I'm holding, and to compare, if you look at the 2 and the 3, the biggest thing that you can look at is that the 2, the little serif drops down a lot more. The 3 is almost completely closed. And if you go back and you look at just for comparison's sake, you'll see that the font is very different. The 2 and the 3 specifically. The 1 and 9 are pretty close, but the 2 and the 3 are very telltale signs. You'll see how open the 3 is on this one, which is the fake, and then how closed the 3 is, which is typical. This is the way almost all of these look. They're mistaken for 1928s quite often, honestly. And if you look at the 2, you'll see that the bottom of the 2 is flat on the fake one, and it's curved quite a bit more on the real coin. The other thing that you can actually see with these coins is just the color, and I guess I'm getting more subjective as I go, that if you look at the colors of the coins, you'll see that the ones that are not made of the 90% silver alloy tend to be a little bit more blue, and this is going to depend on the metal that they were made of. And this one's got a lot of steel in it because it's very magnetic. Yeah. The other thing, if you look at the detail of the coin, since the coin was struck using, you know, other coins and or reverses of other coins and things like that, then it's going to just start to look, you know, basically a lot lighter. The details are just not going to come through, which that in itself is kind of hard to detect, because if you have a relatively good quality coin like this one right here, you'll see that there's a lot more detail in it, and you know, maybe that it's worn out over time. So you just have to know what to look for when you're talking about how detailed a coin is. But this one clearly was never in circulation because of its weight and magnetic properties, so it should basically be almost brand new. And so when you see a coin like this that's this worn while having major weight problems and is very magnetic, you can put all of those different things together when you're building a case, you know, against a coin or for a coin, for it to be real or not. And if you look at the back, it's kind of the same thing. If you look, you'll see that there's just a little bit less detail in the coin, and again, it's just because of the poor materials that they were using to make the coin, and also what the coin is actually made of. Alright, so the last thing I want to show you is the way that the test goes on the Sigma Verifier Pro. And if you look at this tool, this is not a tool that everyone is going to have access to. It's a bit, you know, for the beginners and things like that, it's kind of cost prohibitive. It's very expensive. But a dealer near you would probably have this or something like this to help you verify if you have any questions. Like for instance, this is something that we help others that come in to show good coins versus bad coins, and any dealer would help you out with that. So if you look at the good coin, which is on the left right here, and we look at what it does, it puts basically both things into the green range. And that's telling us that the coin's surface is the same as the coin's internals. And the key when you're looking at the results here is that you never want to see these two numbers more than 0.1 away from each other. Anything that's more than 0.1 different, that's a red flag. You'll notice that there's the yellow area. The yellow area is actually okay if the coin is in there, at least maybe not all the way to the red, but it's again subjective. But the biggest thing is to make sure that the two numbers are very close together, because if you have a plated coin, for instance, you'll have maybe a 2 on the top, but then the rest going through the metal will be way off to the right if it's copper, for instance. But yeah, this is just a very useful tool in helping us verify stuff that we don't see often that comes into the store. But I want to show what the Sigma does with a very bad version of a fake. Basically, we take this coin off and then we put the bad one in. The Sigma won't even give it the benefit of the doubt. It comes back and says it needs to be calibrated every single time, so it can't even read it as a coin. I suppose that's probably because it's so magnetic, but I'm not real sure that this is the only specific coin that it actually requests calibration every single time. But again, if the Sigma is reading a known good, and then you put this really bad version of a fake coin, and it does that tells you there's something very wrong with the coin. I'll probably be showing the Sigma and other stuff that'll help give you more definitive results of different types of coins and things like that. This machine can be set up for all different kinds of metals and then different alloys, like for instance 90% versus pure and things like that. Hopefully you found the video helpful. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. I'm going to be trying to get more videos like this. I've got some other reasonably good fake coins out there that I want to show that are maybe a little harder to detect, and I've got some really bad ones that are almost comical. They're so bad, but you know, it's not something that everybody is around every day. So even some of the bad stuff that's out there could actually be, could trick other people into thinking that it's real. And you know, it's happened. I get people coming into our store often that have bought something from somebody on Craigslist or something like that that ends up being a very bad fake, and it ends up, them being out of a lot of money. So the point of the video is that if you can educate yourself and get a few very inexpensive tools out there to be able to help you identify these things quickly and easily, then you should do it, especially if you're getting into it and you want to be doing it for a while. It's just something that you can do to help protect yourself, and you'll learn. You'll always learn, and then as you learn, you'll get more experience, and you'll be able to say, hey, this coin is feels right, which is the real one. And then if you go to this one, you'll see how light the coin is, since it weighs about a third less. But again, that's something that you kind of gain over time and with experience and just handling the things and dealing with them. My name is Charlie with Beach Gold Assay. I appreciate you watching. And again, if you have any questions or comments, please be able to put them below.